Hello to all the fans of the greatest show on earth, which is The Vampire Diaries. I welcome you at a beautiful 13th episode. Today's episode is called The Children of the Dam. And after recap, which features a lot of scenes with Catherine, because this episode is about Catherine basically. So in the first scene, we right away find ourselves in a flashback. We are in Mystic Falls in 1864. It's nighttime and we see a carriage approaching. And we also see Catherine, who's running towards the carriage, and she's begging for help. She says something has happened to her husband. The guy walks out of the carriage and runs towards Damon to help him. And then the other guy, there's two of them, the other guy who descends from the carriage tells Catherine that it is not safe out here in the middle of the night. And Catherine says, "No, sir, it's not safe." And then her fangs go out and she bites the man and she drains him and she kills him. Then the guy who is at Damon and like checking on Damon hears something, hears a scream, so he turns around, and then Catherine right away is at the second guy and she also kills him. Then her mouth is all covered in blood and she tells to Damon, "And this is how it's done." Damon then asks her what happens to the dead bodies, and she tells him, "Well, I'll take them into the woods and the other animals will finish them off." "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Damon tells her, "I'm ready. I want you to turn me." Catherine tells him when it's time, and then she demands a kiss. But Damon wants to wipe her mouth first before he kisses her. And then she tells him, "You should get a taste," but Damon can't really do it, and he pulls away from her, and then he says sorry, to which she says, "Don't be. Soon you won't be able to get enough." Then Damon hesitates a little bit, but then he kisses Catherine. And this is the first scene of this episode. Then we see the Vampire Diaries on the screen, and this episode is officially starting. Today is packed with flashbacks, with new information, and things that take place, so let's dive into it. Stefan and Elena in the next scene are waking up in Stefan's bed, and Damon interrupts them. He comes into Stefan's room and he sits on the edge of the bed, which Stefan and Elena both don't like at all, and they're like, "Get out of here, this is weird, what are you doing?" And Damon, being totally savage, says, "If I see something I haven't seen before, I'll throw $1 at it. Now listen, we have some very important business to discuss." And Elena's like, "And it has to be right now?" And then Damon tells them that for them to be able to get into the tomb, they need to find the journal, because in the journal it says where the grimoire is. And Damon tells that Elena, since she's a Gilbert, she's on journal duty because it's Jonathan Gilbert's journal that they're looking for. And then Elena's like, "Since when am I helping?" To which Damon proceeds to tell her that she is dating Stefan and Stefan is helping, therefore Elena is helping as well. And then Damon claps his hands and he's like, "Chop chop, I really like this whole menage a threesome theme thing. It's got a bit of a kink to it. Don't screw it up." Then he leaves and he's all happy and everything, Damon is. And then Elena wants to tell Stefan "Oh, he doesn't know that it's fake or whatever." So she starts saying that, but then Stefan shows her "Oh, he can hear you." And then Elena and Stefan start making out, and one of them, I'm not sure which one now, pulls the covers over their heads. And I love this scene because it transcends us into a flashback. And this is going to be happening a lot in this episode. So they pull the covers, Elena or Stefan pulls the covers over them, and then the covers in the next scene are in the flashbacks, and it's Catherine and Damon in the bed, which is super cool. I love when the transitions happen like this. So Damon and Catherine are in bed. It's 1864, we are in the past, and somebody knocks on the door, and it's Emily. And Emily is telling Catherine that Miss Pearl is there to see her. And I love Catherine's face in this scene because her face is like she faces Damon and she has a certain expression on her face, but when she turns to the door, she has this like perfect face, like kind of like I am the shit, I am the boss, I'm the boss lady. Like I love it. And she's beautiful in this scene. She has a corset, she has the beautiful curly hair, and I mean Nina Dobrev is just gorgeous woman, like through and through. I love Nina Dobrev. Then Catherine tells Damon fun's over, and after a while, she's walking down the stairs in this beautiful, beautiful dress, like period dress, and she's walking towards Pearl. Before she goes outside with Pearl, she says, Emily, would you please tell Mr. Salvatore that I've stepped away? And Emily, being a total savage, says, which one? And Catherine, both. And she like makes like a little smirk. Like, I love it. Then they are outside, Pearl and Catherine, and Pearl tells Catherine, how long do you plan on staying with the Salvatores? People talk, Catherine. You carrying on with both brothers doesn't help the situation. And then Catherine says to her, the Salvatores have been kind to take me in. As far as everybody here knows, I am poor orphan girl from Atlanta who lost her family in the fires. And Pearl has a beautiful line here. Not really so much beautiful, but just epic, which is, a match you lit, no doubt. Catherine laughs at that. Like, that's insane. And then Pearl is calling out to someone, and she says, honey, please be careful. And we see a girl that is like turned away from Pearl and Catherine, and the girl is about to pet a horse. So Pearl is yelling at her, or, to tell her, like, be careful. And Pearl is telling Catherine that Honoria Fell came to the apothecary, which is Pearl's apothecary. She runs it. Yesterday with a case of this elixir. She asked it be sold at a reduced rate. Catherine doesn't understand, so Pearl urges her to try it. Catherine opens the bottle, she first sniffs it, and then she puts a little bit on her wrist, and it burns her. She's asking Pearl what the hell, and Pearl says vervain. And Catherine's like so puzzled. She's like, why is there and then she gets it, and she's like, oh, they know. And Pearl says they're trying to find us, and they're getting really crafty about it. It might be time for us to move on again. Catherine tells her, no, I like it here. I'm not interested in leaving just yet. And the girl that we saw before, that Pearl was talking to before, she turns around, and we see that it is nobody else but our Anna, aka Jeremy's little stalker. And Anna, towards Pearl, says, can we go, Mom? Is something happening? And in this scene, I really find it very odd that Catherine, when she sniffs the bottle with vervain, again, she cannot smell the vervain. It's the same thing like I was talking about in the last episode, when Damon is thinking that he's compelling Rick, but Rick is holding a piece of like fresh vervain in his hand. And also Damon didn't smell it. And now Catherine actually opens up the bottle where there is like an vervain extract in it, and she cannot smell it. I mean, aren't they supposed to have like super good smell, like super good senses, like like eyesight and hearing and smell and everything? Like, that is weird to me. Then another thing, which if I'm wrong, correct me, but I don't think they ever showed us the story how Catherine met Pearl and Anna and Emily. Like, what was the connection? How did they meet? Where did they meet? I think they only show us from this point forward what happens. And I think that could be an interesting story. I'm kind of sad that they didn't show us. And I don't think they did. If they did show us something more deep in the past, let me know, but I don't believe so. And also, in this scene, we can see Catherine's like selfishness, because and her cockiness also, because she's like, oh, they'll never find out about me. And also her unwillingness to rather leave and be safe and have her friends safe than like risk all of it. She's willing to risk all of it. She doesn't care. She's so proud and so cocky that she just thinks that they're not gonna get her. And she wants both brothers, both Salvators, and it has to be in her terms, and everything has to be the way she wants it, which later on will not end up so great for her. Also, I want to mention that Pearl is also a very beautiful woman, and I don't believe that I've ever seen this actress in any other shows, unless like it was the Vampire Diaries. I mean, unless like I've only seen her in the Vampire Diaries, not any other shows, which is surprising because she's very good. I also think that it's super funny that Pearl is calling or is telling Anna, who is a vampire, to be careful when she's petting the horse. Unless Anna was turned into a vampire after her mom ended up in the tomb. I don't know, but it's really weird. Like, if I think Anna is already a vampire in this scene, so it is super funny that Pearl is like, honey, be careful, so that the horse doesn't bite you or whatever. Like, what? Even if the horse would like bite her hand off, like it would grow back or whatever. So that was weird. I also want to mention that Nina is playing Catherine so amazingly and beautifully. It's unreal, because she really perfected and created a whole new character, a whole new way of talking, of walking, of like hands gestures and face expressions. Like, it's unreal how you really truly believe that Catherine and Elena are two different people. Like, I truly believe that, and I know 1000% it's the same actress, but I still believe that it's two different people. And then also in this scene, I really enjoy, as I already mentioned, a line that Pearl says, "A match you lit, no doubt." It's just so perfect. Then also in the scene we see Catherine's necklace. It's like it's a cameo with like a blue background, and it's on like a goldish chain, probably gold filled or something. And I was looking for that. I really like that. And I was looking for that even when I was in Covington. I was looking for that. I think there were a couple of them, but all of them were like so cheap and they didn't resemble the real one. Like, it was a very like not a very good copy. Like, if you were on the train and you like saw the necklace from like 200 meters while driving on the train and you got like a glimpse of it, that's how the necklace looks. So I was like, that sucks. And also, like, all the other jewelry is not a very good quality. Like, they sell Damon's rings, Elena's rings, Catherine's ring. They sell that bracelet that Klaus gives to Caroline. They sell Caroline ring. And I don't know, I just I wish there were like more high-end pieces that you can get, like that actually looks exactly like the ring and it's made like from silver with like genuine gemstones and stuff like that. I would, get one. I had Caroline's ring, but it fell apart. And I do have, though, one jewelry piece from Vampire Diaries, and it's Elena's necklace, the one that Stefan gives her in, like, I should know this, but in the first episodes. And I've had it since I was in high school, because I'm obsessed with the Vampire Diaries since I was in high school. And I ordered it when I still lived in Europe, in Czech. I ordered it on eBay, and back then it was 3,000 Czech crown. And wait, let me see what it is in US dollars. So in US dollars, it would be about $150. And back then there was a lot of money. I was in high school. It was like, for me, that was like 3,000, dollars. And I really wanted it. I really needed it. It was on eBay and it's sterling silver, so I got it. And I've had it since then, which probably is almost like 16 years or something. And when I was in Covington, I got a bottle of vervain and I put vervain in it, and it was epic, and the circle has closed, and it was just so good. Stars aligned and all that. Then we have a very pretty transition into the next scene, because the last scene is ending with Anna in the flashback, and then now we have Anna in the present. She's laying in bed in the motel, and she's leaving a voicemail for Jeremy, and the voicemail is really bad. We're not even gonna go into that. It's super embarrassing. Then Ben is asking Anna if she likes Jeremy, but she says she's just using him for what she needs him for. Then Ben is asking her if the journal that's laying on the bed is the Gilbert journal that she's looking for, and Anna is talking like kind of down to Ben, and she tells him no, you should pay a little bit more attention. Then she gives him blood from the fridge before he goes on the date with Bonnie. He says he wants fresh blood, and then Anna tells him that when they open the tomb, he can kill whoever he wants, but right now he has to focus on Bonnie, and Anna has to focus on getting the Gilbert journal from Rick. Or she says from the teacher. They don't call him Rick yet, but I call him Rick. Then Ben asks her why did she choose him to turn him into a vampire, and she says, you were sad, Ben. You lacked purpose. You needed me. Which is, I think, a little bit selfish and manipulative coming from Anna. You know, like, that's not a reason enough to turn someone into a vampire. Like, he could have found purpose in his life. He could have figured his shit out. He could have changed his life, you know? So in the next scene, we are in Elena's house, and she is digging something in a box, and she's actually looking for Jonathan Gilbert's journal. Elena is talking to Stefan, and she's saying, do you think Damon really believes us, that we are both trying to help him? I don't think Damon knows what to believe. Trust isn't something that comes naturally to him. You know, I really think that Damon believes that everything he's done, every move that he's made, he's done for love. It's twisted, but kind of sad. And Stefan says, there are other ways to get what you want. You don't have to kill people. Damon has no regard for human life. He enjoys inflicting pain on others. For 145 years, every single time that I had let my guard down and let Damon back into my life, he's done something to make me regret that. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Then Elena says, so what do you think will happen if Doom gets open and Damon gets Catherine back? And Stefan says, I think that no matter what Damon promises us, a lot of people will die. Then Jeremy is coming into the room, and he's asking what they are doing, and Elena tells him they are looking for Jonathan Gilbert's journal, and if Jer saw it or something. And Jer says that he used it for his paper, and right now Mr. Saltzman has it, that he wanted to see it. And Elena and Stefan look at each other in a suspicious way, like, that's weird that Mr. Saltzman wanted to see it. In the next scene, we see Rick, who is in high school. He is in his classroom, and he is reading in the journal. And as he is reading from the journal, we are diving into another flashback. We are back in the year 1864, and we see Giuseppe Salvatore, who is Stefan's and Damon's dad, Barnett Lockwood, and Jonathan Gilbert, who are looking at the compass that is finding the vampires, or supposed to find the vampires. And they're talking about it. Then Giuseppe says that the idea with the church is good and that it could work. Stefan interrupts. He's walking in, and then he says he's sorry he didn't know that his father had company. The others, when Stefan walks away, the Lockwood guy and Jonathan Gilbert, they ask Giuseppe if he told his sons about the vampires, and he says not yet. Then Jonathan Gilbert tells him that they need every man that they can get, and Giuseppe says, I'll tell them, you can count on both my boys. And the next scene, we are back in the high school, and Rick just finished photocopying the Jonathan Gilbert's journal. Then he takes the copy and he puts it in the locker in the hallway, and then he goes back to his classroom. Suddenly he hears something in the hallway, so he walks out of the classroom to look what it is, and we can see Anna, who's kind of lurking around and hiding behind around the corner and stuff, and she's, I think, essentially waiting for Rick to come out of the classroom, because when he does, we can see something like whooshing around. Rick has a weird feeling and he goes back into his locker and he's grabbing a gun. Then he goes back to his classroom where we could see that Stefan is there and Rick is shooting at him with this like gun that has stakes in it, but Stefan catches the stake. Rick is trying to reload the gun, but Stefan is right away next to him and grabs the gun out of his hands, and he tells him he shouldn't have done that. Then he pushes Rick, who falls on the floor, and right away Stefan says or tells him to have a seat, which is weird. And why did you push him to the floor, you know? Then Stefan is asking Rick, what is this, compressed air? Did you make it yourself? Who are you? And then he sees that Rick is super scared and he says, I'm not going to hurt you unless you try that again. And Stefan says, so now, who are you? And Rick says, I'm a teacher. And Stefan goes, are we gonna have to do this the hard way? I'm also a historian, and while researching Virginia, I made a few discoveries about your town. So you show up like Van Helsing? Come on, tell me the truth. My wife was a parapsychologist. She spent her life researching paranormal activity in this area. It was her work that led me here. Where's your wife? Dead. A vampire killed her. Where's the Gilbert journal? It's on my desk. No, it's not. It was on my desk. And I feel like it's super weird that Stefan has no compassion for Rick in this scene, because he says, where's your wife? And Alaric says, dead. And then Stefan doesn't ask any more questions and he straight goes to, where's the Gilbert journal? I feel like that's not Stefan as we know him. In the next scene, we are in the motel room where Anna and Ben are looking through the Gilbert journal, and then Ben is leaving to go on the date with Bonnie. Anna is continuing to read in the journal, and then thanks to the power of the journal, we go into another flashback and we can hear Jonathan Gilbert's voice. I saw her again today, the most beautiful woman in town, with a name just as pretty, Pearl. And we are back in the year 1864 at the apothecary, and Pearl is asking Catherine if she thought about their previous conversation. Catherine says, we'll leave soon, Pearl, I promise. I need to take care of a few things first. And Pearl's like, you're going to turn both of them, aren't you? Catherine, please, be careful. We will all be safe, I promise. Then Catherine's like, oh, Mr. Gilbert is coming. Quick, your cheeks perfectly rosy. This is so great. I hate this line so much. Because Catherine is like, quick, your cheeks. And then she pinches Pearl's cheeks. I think because they're vampires. And then maybe if she pinches her cheeks, she looks more alive or something. But perfectly rosy sets me over the edge. I don't know. I just have problem with some lines in this episode, and this is one of them. It's making me cringe. Then Jonathan Gilbert comes in and he's asking if he can have a moment with Miss Pearl, and she says yes, and she tells him, I'm still waiting for you to explain the comet in the sky, which I like, because the comet is connected to the spell, the tomb, and this whole shebang with, the vampires in the tomb and all of that. So I like that it's casually mentioned in a conversation here. That is really nice. And we are still in the flashback in 1864, but we see Giuseppe, Stefan, and Damon. Again, Giuseppe Salvatore is Stefan and Damon's dad. So we see their dad and Stefan and Damon who are walking around and they're talking. And their father is telling them that they are descendants of the founding families and that the town needs to know that they can count on them. Stefan says, yes, of course, is there a doubt? And Giuseppe says, I'm not sure your brother Damon understands the importance of duty. Stefan says, Damon left the Confederacy on principle. It was his choice and should be respected. You'll forgive me if I have trouble respecting a deserter. Well, I never ask for your respect. Giuseppe says, good for you, Damon, because all I have is disappointment, which is so harsh. Then Stefan, because he's a little like unsettled by this tension, he changes the subjects and he said, "You said the town is in trouble." And their father says, "There has been too many deaths. It is time for us to fight back and stop these killers." Killers? What are you talking about? "We live amongst demons." "You're being cryptic now, father. Why don't you just say the word?" "Vampires. They exist, and they live amongst us. But we have a plan to kill them, and you're going to help us." And I feel like it is weird that Stefan and Damon didn't at least pretend to be more shocked that there is such a thing as vampires when their father told them, because like I know they know, but their father didn't know that they know. And if somebody like imagine if you tell someone, "Hey, they're vampires," they're not gonna believe you. They're gonna be like, you're crazy, like vampires don't exist." But they were just like, okay, like they didn't care. And also Damon looks super hot in this scene, and his eyes are so blue. I mean, yeah. And also we can see a relationship between Damon and his father in this scene, and the tensions that like it was not a great relationship. And in further flashbacks, in further seasons, we will learn more about their relationship, but we can already get a glimpse of how it was. Also, I have a note here that so Damon deserted from the war, but war deserters during the war, the South and North War, I think that he would be punished. So I don't think he could desert from the war and then just go live at home, because it was a small town, and I think that people would talk and like word would spread, and then they would come for Damon, and they usually killed those deserters, or they forced them, like forced labor, like they send them off to some work camps maybe or something like that, or they just imprison them or something. Like there was a punishment for deserting from the war. It was in 1864, so maybe like the fights were coming to an end soon, so maybe that's why. But still, I don't think he could just come home and live at home and like be okay. That's just my note. In the next scene, we are in Elena's house, and somehow Damon is there just cooking dinner in their kitchen. I don't know how and why. While he's cooking dinner, he's talking to Jenna, who's apparently totally fine with Damon just randomly cooking in their kitchen. She's sitting on the counter and drinking wine. And then Elena is coming in, and Damon's asking her where Stefan is, and she's like stuttering that he's gonna be there in a little bit. Damon is in a very good mood, and he is like refilling Anne's Jenna wine, which is super cute. Next, we are back in the high school where Stefan and Rick are having a conversation. Rick is telling him that it was Damon who killed his wife and took her body, and he just wants to know what happened with her and like to her, where her body is, and so on. Stefan tells him that Damon can never know why he is there because he would kill him without blinking. Alaric tells him, "I can take care of myself," and Stefan's like, "Nope, you can't, but I can help you if you let me." Back at Elena's house, it's a super cute scene of Elena and Damon when they bump into each other. And it's, I don't know, like they bump into each other, and Elena is like annoyed, but in a really cute way. And Elena is like, "Don't do that." And Damon's like, "Do what?" "You know what? That move was deliberate." And Damon's like, "Well, yeah, I was deliberately trying to get to the sink." And it's just, I just love that so much because... yeah. And Damon then asks her, "Is it real?" And Elena is like, "Is what real?" This renewed sense of brotherhood. "Can I trust him?" "Yes, you can trust him." And she's not very convincing. She didn't convince me. So Damon vamp speeds in front of her, and he says again, "Can I trust him?" And he's like looking in her eyes, so she thinks that he's trying to compel her. So she's like, "I'm wearing vervain, Damon. It's not going to work." And Damon's like, "I'm not compelling you. I just want you to answer me honestly." And then Elena's like, "Of course you can." But again, it's not very convincing. And this scene is and will be always be my favorite. It was, it is, and it will be. Because the chemistry that they have between each other is so good. Like you can cut a slice of it and have it as a dessert. Like it is so good. And they are very good at playing these characters and playing together and bouncing off of each other. I love it. Chemistry is amazing. They're beautiful people with beautiful connection, and I just love it. And I'm sure that it helped that they were actually really attracted to each other in real life. And again, this scene is kind of pouring into the next scene, because Damon says in this one, can I trust him? And then this next scene, which is again back in 1864, is starting with Catherine saying, you can trust me, Mr. Salvatore. I would never cheat. But when she says this, we still see Damon's face, who is in the present. So we hear Catherine's voice, you can trust me, Mr. Salvatore, I would never cheat. But we're still in Elena's kitchens and we see Damon's face, and then we are diving into Damon's memory in 1864. And we see Catherine playing croquet with Giuseppe Salvatore, which again is Stefan's and Damon's dad, and she's winning. Stefan and Damon are walking towards them and they are watching them play. And Giuseppe is like pretending to like be getting upset, and he's like, I'm losing over here again, like kind of like, funny way with Catherine. And Damon's like, she's good, I almost believe she genuinely likes him. And Stefan says, perhaps she does. And Damon's like, she knows Father would have her killed if he knew the truth. And Stefan says, not if we talk to him, explain how we feel. He could help us keep her safe. And Damon says, have you gone mad? No, Father would drive the stake in her himself. That's not true. We can trust him. No, not with this. Please, promise me you won't tell him, Stefan. And Stefan says, I promise. Back at Elena's house, we see Damon and Elena preparing dinner. And Damon is telling her that there was a time when he trusted Stefan more than anyone. Elena says, trust breeds trust. You have to give it to get it. Are you lecturing me? Do you need to be lectured? I just want her back. I'm sure you can understand that. I can understand that you would do anything for her. Yes. Then you understand what I will do if anyone gets in my way. After that, Jeremy and Damon are playing video games, and Jer is like briefly talking about Anna because his phone rings and he kind of looks at it, but not really. So Damon's like, oh, who is it? Who are you dodging? And Jerry's like, it's this girl Anna. She can be persistent. Damon asks if she's hot. Jerry says yes, but she could be weird. And then Damon, being Damon, tells him, hot trumps weird, trust me. And back in the kitchen, we can hear Aunt Jenna telling Elena that Damon is ridiculously hot, which we all agree with. And Elena shushes her because she knows that Damon can hear them. And he is adding, again, because she knows that Damon can hear, he's an ass. And to that, Damon makes a really cute face, and he rolls his eyes and in such a cute way, and it's just, I love that. It's a cute scene. Elena is digging around in a box, and she's telling Jenna that she was hoping there's going to be something about her biological parents. And Jenna then asks her if she told Jeremy already that she was adopted. Elena says that not yet, but she wants to tell him soon. Then somebody's ringing the doorbell, and Elena goes to open the door, and Damon leaves Jeremy in the middle of the game, and he speeds up to be at the door with Elena. I think partially to annoy Stefan, but also to kind of know what's new about searching for the journal. Next is Mystic Grill. Bonnie and Ben are on a date, and they are talking about the karaoke they just came back from. And then somehow through the conversation they get to Elena, and Bonnie says, yeah, we are best friends, and Elena and I are bonded for life. I can't imagine it any other way. And Ben is like, oh yeah, that tight? And she's like, yeah, she's my sister. I mean, I'd die for her. Which is so cute. Bonnie, we love you. Back at Elena's house, Damon, Elena, and Stefan go outside to the porch to talk. And Stefan tells both of them that somebody took Jonathan Gilbert's journal from Rick. Damon says that there is something weird about Rick, and Stefan's like, no, he's fine, like he doesn't know anything. Then Stefan says that somebody got there right before me and like grabbed the journal. So then Damon is trying to figure out who else knew that it was there. Then Damon is asking Jeremy who else knows about the journal, and Jerry says that Mr. Saltzman and that Anna girl. Damon's like, where do you know her? And he's like, I don't know, I just know her, and that she wants to meet him at the grill later. So Damon says, that's great, I'm gonna drive you. Jerry doesn't really ask a lot of questions and just kind of goes with it and goes with Damon, which I think I would like ask more questions, like why, what, whatever, but Jerry just goes with it and they go to the grill together. Elena's phone is ringing and she goes upstairs to answer it. It's Bonnie who is calling her from her date. It's a great date and Ben is a gentleman, and she also tells Elena she wants to kiss him, but she's a chicken. And then Elena proceeds with the cringiest line of all times that goes, you're a powerful witch goddess. Come on, seize the day, Broomhilda. Which is supposed to be like a pep talk for Bonnie to kiss Ben, but it's just so cringy. Like, ooh, I just don't want to even think about that line. I hate it. Then Elena hangs up the phone and Stefan is coming to her and she's asking him why he didn't go to grill with Damon and Jeremy to find out about the Gilbert journal. And Stefan tells her that he doesn't need to go because he's got a copy of it, that like Rick made a copy and he just gave it to him. And Elena is like, he did, like he loaned it to you like that easily. And then Stefan's like, not exactly, but I got it anyway. Then we are in the grill and Anna is walking towards Jeremy and Damon is watching them from the distance. And we are diving into another flashback. We are back in 1864 in the apothecary. And there is Pearl, there is Damon, and also Catherine. Pearl tells them that Sheriff bought large volumes of the vervain elixir. And then Pearl and Catherine are kind of joking about like just random stuff, and Damon is concerned and he's like, how can you be so calm? They're getting closer to you. And Catherine tells him, we are the respectable ladies of Mystic Falls. Thanks to Emily, we walk in the streets in the daylight. No one will ever suspect us. And Pearl says, not unless a human tells them. And Damon says, I'd sooner die. And Catherine poetically continues, and soon enough, you will. And I love that. I love that those two words like bounce off of each other, or the lines. Next scene is in Mystic Grill, where Damon looks back over at Anna, because in the scene before, when they're talking with Pearl, I forget to mention at the end of that scene, Anna is walking in, and that's when Damon sees her and knows her from. So back at the grill, when he comes back from his memory, he realizes it's Anna, and he knows her from back then, and Anna doesn't know that she's being watched, and she continues to play the game with Jeremy. I don't know what they're playing, I think pool. In the next scene, we are back at Elena's house, where Stefan and Elena are going through the copied pages of the journal. They are in Elena's room. And then Elena finds a reference in the journal which says, the Fell family believed it should be I, not them, who protected the witch's spellbook, but I feared she would haunt me from the hereafter. They mocked my fear, but it was Giuseppe Salvatore who, and then Elena realizes, and she goes to Stefan like, oh, is that your father? And Stefan says yes. He takes the pages and then he continues reading. It was Giuseppe Salvatore who removed my fear. He told me he would protect the secret of the spellbook. He said he would carry it to his grave. And then Stefan goes into 1864, into a flashback. And he is coming to his father, to Giuseppe, who is telling him that he's gonna carry all his secrets to his grave. Stefan then tells him that maybe the assumptions they are making about vampires are wrong, and maybe not all of them are as evil as they think. And then his father asks him, like, do you have any evidence on the contrary? Do you know any vampires? Stefan says no. And Giuseppe tells him, Stefan, these creatures are of the darkest parts of hell. They have the ability to control our mind, seduce your spirit. They are deadly. They must be destroyed. Those who stand with them, those who bring shame to their families, will be destroyed as well. We are back to present, and we are in Elena's house, and then Stefan tells Elena that he knows where the grimoire is. In the motel, Anna is going back to her room, and Damon is lurking there for her. He grabs her under her throat, but she grabs him also, so they are kind of choking each other, and it's super weird. But then Damon gives up because Anna is older than Damon, so she's stronger, which then answers our question about Anna. So if Anna is older than them, then when she was petting that horse, she was already a vampire, so it makes no sense why Pearl was yelling at her to be careful with the horse, okay? I mean, it's a horse. It's not like it's a lion or something. Like, it's... And I like in this scene Damon's line, damn, you're strong for a little thing. And Anna tells him, I was wondering how long it would take you to find me. We are in the cemetery in the next scene where Stefan is preparing to dig out his father's grave, which is super dark even for Stefan. Elena is asking him if he's like sure that the spellbook is gonna be there, and he says, as sure as I could be. Then he tells her that he can do it on his own, and she said, no, I'll do whatever I can to help. And then he's like, yeah, but you don't have to be here, whatever. And then Elena's like, this town is my home, Stefan. My friends and family are here, you're here. I don't want the tomb open any more than you do. And they proceed. We are back in the past, in 1864, and we are in Catherine's room. She's sitting at her vanity, and Stefan is on her bed. Catherine is looking at her necklace, and Stefan is asking her if she got it from Damon. She says, no, actually, I got it from Emily, and you need to forget Damon. And then Stefan's like, but I want you all to myself. And she says, just as he wants me, but I am the one who gets to make all the rules. And he says, and why is that? Because I'm spoiled. Yes, you are, and selfish. And then she bites Stefan, and right away when she bites him, she starts choking, and she just says vervain, which means his blood has been poisoned. She falls off of the bed on the floor, and then Stefan starts like yelling, Catherine, Catherine, and then his dad comes in, and he tells him to go get the sheriff and tell him we have a vampire. Stefan's like, what? No. And then Giuseppe yells at him that, he gave her the vervain, and he was hoping to expose her, and he needs to go get the sheriff, and he throws like a shirt at him, and Stefan doesn't really fight him and just gets the sheriff. I mean, like, he loved her. Wouldn't you like fight more for your girl? Like, wouldn't you fight your dad? Wouldn't you at least, if not fight him physically, wouldn't you like be like, no, I'm not going, I love her, we're not getting a sheriff, and we're not putting her in jail or whatever they were gonna do with them. But no, just grabs the shirt and goes. Next scene is a super quick scene where we see Elena and Stefan digging in the cemetery. I don't know why. Next, after that, is motel where Damon and Anna are talking. Damon is asking her, how long have you been here? And she says she's been like when the comet came or something, and that she watched every step of him to like screw up to get into the tomb. Then we are back at the motel room where Anna and Damon are talking. Damon is asking her why they only meet now, and she tells him that she uses like other people to do her dirty work. Damon is like, yeah, who? Like Logan? And Anna says yes. She says that he was an idiot, but she thought she needed him because she thought that the answer where to find the grimoire was in Fell's journal, and Logan was a Fell, so she thought she needed the Fell's journal, but then she realized it was actually in Jonathan Gilbert's journal. And then she tells him that the grimoire is with Damon's dad, or that he had it, and that now Damon has to help Anna to find it. Damon thinks about it for like a split of a second, and then he tells her that he works alone and he leaves. And I'm surprised she doesn't try to stop him, talk to him more, tell him something else. Like, she just lets him leave. Then in the grill, we see Bonnie, who kisses Ben, but right away she pulls away, and because she realizes that he's a vampire. Then she tries to pretend that, like, it's all okay. She tries to pretend, let's stay in the grill for a little bit more, get like a caffeine buzz, which is like a super weird line again. And then she's going to the bathroom, and he grabs her, and we can see his vampire teeth, eyes, everything, and he grabs Bonnie and drags her away. And the line that Bonnie says here is super bizarre, and it makes like no sense, and it's weird because when she tries to like pretend like everything's okay and they're gonna stay a little bit longer, she says, I was going to say, let's have more coffee, get a caffeine buzz, and I don't know, go out and do something crazy. Who says that? Who would ever say that? Get a caffeine buzz and do something crazy. I mean, I wanted to say cringe, but I almost said Grinch. But yeah, totally cringe. Then we are back at the old cemetery, and Elena starts to laugh at the absurdity of the situation of them in the dark digging out a grave. Stefan realizes she's laughing, and he's like, what? And she says, not many girls can say they've done this. And then Stefan like feels something in the ground, and in a little bit he's opening up his father's coffin, and he is finding the grimoire. All right, it's in there. But in that moment, Damon appears with a crazy look on his face, like psychopathic. And he says, well, what do you know? This is an interesting turn of events. And Stefan tells him, I can't let you bring her back. I'm sorry. And Damon says, so am I, for thinking for even a second that I could trust you. And Stefan says, you're not capable of trust. The fact that you're here means that you read the journal and you were planning on doing this yourself. Of course I was going to do it by myself, because the only one I can count on is me. You made sure of that many years ago, Stefan. But you, he turns to Elena, you had me fooled. So what are you going to do now? Because if you try and destroy that, I'll rip her heart out. You won't kill her. Then Damon goes and grabs Elena. He grabs her from behind. He bites his wrist and he shoves it in her mouth, so she has to swallow his blood. And he tells Stefan that he's gonna snap her neck and they will have a vampire girlfriend. Then Stefan realizes, so he puts the book down, and before Damon lets her go, he kind of like rests his head against Elena's head for a little bit, and there is so much emotion in that scene. It's like he doesn't want to ever let her go, but he knows he has to, and there's a lot of emotions in that scene, and it's really easy to miss because it's not a very long thing, but when you focus on that, it carries a lot of emotion. Then Damon lets Elena go, and Elena and Stefan are leaving. Damon picks up the book, and we are once again diving into his memories. We are back in Mystic Falls in 1864, and we see two men who are putting this like a mouth guard almost, or like a mask on Catherine. And I don't think that it would do much, because if she was strong enough, she would just rip it off and bite them anyway. But anyways, and so Damon runs there and he says, don't take her. And his father is like, do you know what they will do to you if you're branded a sympathizer? You will be killed along with them. And Damon screams, then let me be killed. He's such a Shakespeare in this episode, just everything for love. Then in the old cemetery, we see Damon, who is looking for just a tiny bit longer on his father's grave, and then with the grimoire in hand, he leaves. Then we are back at Elena's house. She's telling Stefan that she has a headache, and he's like, yeah, it's from the blood, but you'll be fine. It's going to be out of your system tomorrow. Then Stefan tells her Damon is right. It is my fault. And we are diving now into Stefan's memory. Back in Mystic Falls in 1864. The two men are carrying Catherine into like a carriage outside, and Damon is running towards it, and Stefan's like, Damon, stop, I'll help you, we'll get her back. Help me? Don't you think you've done enough? You promised you wouldn't tell him. I didn't think this would happen. You did this. This is your fault. So then back at Elena's house, when he comes back from the memory, Stefan tells Elena, I put my faith in my father, but Damon put his faith in me, and I destroyed that. This is my fault. Elena says, you didn't do anything wrong. Don't forget that. Then Stefan tells Elena he's gonna go get her some aspirin for her headache, and she's laying on the bed. Stefan is asking Jenna downstairs if she has aspirin, and Jenna starts looking for it. And meanwhile, Jeremy is walking in, and he's saying, where did she go? And Jenna's like, she went to the bathroom. And Stefan's like, where did who go? And Jenna's like, he has a friend over. And Jeremy's like, Anna. And Stefan connects all the dots in his super quick vampire brain, and we are back in Mystic Falls in 1864. It's dark, it's at night, it's chaos, and the hunt for vampires in like full bloom. And Anna goes to Pearl, and she's asking her what's happening. Pearl tells her to go to find Emily and to hide, and that she will get them out of there. Then Pearl goes to get horses, which makes no sense since they are vampires and they could just scoot off in vampire speed and never be seen again. Like, what did she need horses for? Even if like the horses were their pets and they loved them, they could have just run away with vamp speed so that they can save their lives, and then just compel someone to go grab the horses for them. Like, makes no sense why Pearl was getting the horses. But anyway, while she's getting the horses, Jonathan Gilbert runs to her, and he's like talking to her like it's so exciting, we're running up the vampires, and he's holding the vampire finding compass in his hand. So then suddenly the compass starts spinning and it points to Pearl. She begs him not to say anything, and she thinks he might listen because he likes her, but he doesn't do that. He calls the others and says, we have another vampire. So she tries to run away, but they shoot her, and then the men grab her. Anna is trying to like go there and help her mom, but Emily is holding her, and she's telling her, don't worry, I have a spell, I'm gonna protect them, it's okay, you're gonna see her again. So, and we see this from Stefan's perspective, so he sees Anna in this flashback. So then back at Elena's house, we realize, or Stefan realizes, he knows Anna, he realizes where he knows her from, and he bolts upstairs to look for Elena, and then he realizes Elena is not there. And that is the end of the 13th episode, which is called The Children of the Damned. And I was thinking about it, and I think this episode's name refers to the descendants of the founding families. Children of the Damned, or it could be connected to the vampires as well. I'm not actually sure now that I'm thinking about it, but I think it's connected to the founding families though. And just a little bit of notes here. In this episode, I truly love the way we dive into flashbacks, because it's very natural, the transitions between present and past. And we learn a lot in these flashbacks. I really love, as I mentioned in the beginning, I love the one transition where it's Stefan and Elena in bed. She pulls the sheets, and then all of a sudden it's Catherine and Damon in the past, and they pull the sheet down and it's them. Or Anna in the motel and Anna at the horse. Or Anna who's reading the journal, and then Jonathan Gilbert writes about her mom, and we dive into another one. Like, it's really well written, really well done. I feel like some episodes haven't been written this well to make this amount of sense, but this one is very well structured. It like glides into each other, melts into each other, and makes a lot of sense, and is easy to understand, easy to follow, yet you get a lot of information out of this episode, and in a very easy way. It's fun to watch. It goes super fast because you want to learn, okay, what's gonna happen next. It's also very gloomy and dark because, I mean, digging your father's grave, that is freaking dark. And also, when we're talking about digging graves, how come Stefan didn't dig up the grave in like 30 seconds with his vamp speed? Like, what was he doing shoveling it like a human being? Was he just trying to like show Elena he can do it like a human? Like, it makes no sense. And actually, it's funny because my friend Teresa just started to watch this show. She's never watched it, can you believe it? She's like my age, 34, and she's never watched this show, which is weird. But anyways, she's watching it now. And she said the same thing. She's like, why is he digging the grave like in like a human speed? Like, that is weird. Same thing about Pearl. It makes no sense. Why did you go grab the horses? Just get Anna and vamp speed out of there. You know, Anna was already a vampire, which we established because Anna is older than Damon. And Damon, as we're gonna find out later on, spoiler alert, don't listen if you're not caught up, Damon and Stefan are gonna turn, I think, in the next episode, which is the night they try to save Catherine, and then they have to feed within like a day or two. So Anna already had to be a vampire at this point to be older than Damon. So they could have just speeded off and be totally fine, but she decided to get the horses. Also, Catherine can't smell vervain. Damon apparently cannot smell vervain, so that is bizarre. And I think my favorite scene out of this episode is Elena and Damon in the kitchen. And Damon just looks so happy in that scene, and the chemistry between them is amazing and mesmerizing. And I actually really love the way Damon and actually Ian, the way Ian is able to show you such a huge range of emotions with a very slight change, maybe in his tone of voice, in his face expressions, and with his eyes. Like, there is so much depth in his eyes when he acts, because you can right away tell if it's crazy psychotic Damon or if it's genuine good Damon, which we have good genuine Damon in the kitchen cooking, but then when he learns that Stefan and Elena kind of fucked him over, then we have the psychotic Damon. So I just think Ian is an amazing actor. Even just a slight thing in the cemetery when he pulls Elena closer before he lets her go, it's such a really tiny, how would I say this? Like, it is not a big movement. It is not a big scene, and it doesn't have a lot of time on screen. Yet when you focus on it, there is so much emotion in that little lean towards Elena. When he just like leans his head a little bit closer and he closes his eyes, and it almost feels like you're hugging someone you love, and it is like the last hug you will ever be able to give them, and then they're just gone. They're gonna vanish into thin air, or you're gonna vanish, but that is it. That is your last chance to really feel them, like, with the entirety of your being, and to hold them and to smell their hair. I feel like he kind of does smell her hair a little bit. Like, it's amazing. If you're rewatching Vampire Diaries, please focus on this scene in the cemetery when he pulls her in before he lets her go, because it's simply stunning. I cannot. It's beautiful. Same for Nina, the way she carries Catherine. I mean, if Catherine was played by anyone else than Nina, she wouldn't be such a beloved character, and she wouldn't be so just iconic. Catherine is fucking iconic. I'm sorry for cursing, but that's just the way it is. So I hope you enjoy. I sure did. I loved it. I I really, really do love it. If you have any comments or questions or any other things that you find out that was weird about this episode, that like they didn't really make much sense, like Anna with the horses and all the other stuff, please let me know in the comments. Again, you can follow my vampire Instagram, TVD forever / I was feeling epic. And I post some edits on there, some things I found funny, some lines, some scenes that I find hilarious, mostly Damon because he's just great. I recently posted, well, I've been watching True Blood, and there was Lexi and Elijah, and they were actually a couple on one of the episodes. They were not good guys, they were very, very bad, but I posted it because it was so funny to see them on True Blood. So you have that on there. I'm also planning an episode about my trip to Covington. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Maybe I'll do it after I finish first season or something. I do have that planned because I want to tell you about everything. I definitely want to tell you about the hotel you should avoid because that was a horrible experience for me. I would definitely opt in for a Airbnb. And yeah, I want to tell you everything, like how I planned it, what I saw. I want to give you like the addresses of the places and what was worth seeing and stuff like that. So that will be exciting. I went to Vickery Bridge, which was super cool. It was like half an hour away from Covington, and it was really great. And I have some really cool pictures in there. I was wearing this like long yellow flowy dress. And there was a lot of cars coming, and they were going pretty fast. But whenever it was like somewhat quiet, I would get in the middle of the road, in the middle of the bridge, and I have some cool pictures. And it was sad because it was like a big storm the day before we went on Vickery Bridge, so the river was like super ugly and everything was just washed out and just not very pretty. But that's okay, I still loved it. Anyways, I hope that you are having a great year so far. I cannot wait for spring. It's been so cold here. I'm in Jersey, and for the past month it's been like -15, -10 Celsius, and I'm just so over it. Today was actually 2 Celsius in like +2, and it felt like summer. It was amazing. I loved it. And this freaking snow won't melt, and my dog hates it. She doesn't even want to go outside. She doesn't want to go use the bathroom. She's such a lazy potato. So I'm excited for the snow to be gone and to go on walks again with her, and just, I don't know, feel some hope in the air. Like, it's been so dark and gray and gloomy. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing great. If you have any dreams that you haven't pursued yet, now is the time to do it, because you'll never have enough or more time than you have right now. So just get on it and get it started, and you'll feel so good about doing it. This podcast would not happen if I just gave up on everything. And even though I don't have a lot of followers, I'm grateful for every single one of you that do listen to this podcast. I see it on my stats, so I know that some people are listening in, and it is a really good feeling for me that I get to share my love for the Vampire Diaries with all of you, and I'm just happy to be doing it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I will meet you here next time, and we will be already on episode 14. We are more than halfway through the series at this point. I mean, through the first season, which is really great. So I hope you're doing great. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you here next week.